Welcome everybody to the Best Places to Lead show. I am not Jerry McNamara, although sometimes I wish I was. And I'm Pablo Gonzalez. My company produces Jerry's show. And because he is in St. Kitts, he has given me the esteemed honor of guest hosting the show today. And today I'm really, really excited to be here, not just to get to hang out with all of you, but to showcase a guy that, true story, first time I ever heard him on a podcast was the first time I ever finished a podcast and then immediately re-listened to the podcast. And then I went and stalked him on other podcast things that he's been on. And that was like early 2019. Now I have the honor to call him my friend. He's a professional speaker. He's an author of a couple of great books, 7 Ways to Love and 7 Ways to Lead. And he's the founder of You Evolving Now. He's got the Yen Push app on Apple iTunes that I have been very much subscribed to, where he sends like a motivational message every single day. I like to start my day with it. And just a really cool guy. Andre Young, man, welcome to the show.
Wow. Thank you for the intro, Pablo. Hi, everyone. Happy Thursday or whatever day you're watching this after this post. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you. And I'm, super pumped. I know that y'all tune in for Jerry, so I appreciate you tuning in for this show as well. So Janek, is that how I say your name? Janeki?
It's Yannicka.
Yannicka. I was way off.
Way off, Pablo.
Just like it's spelled, right?
Yeah, sorry. Bill, Summerlin, Mike, it's really, really great to have you. Appreciate you being here. If y'all have been to this show before, you know it's an interactive show, so feel free to light up the chat with anything you want me to add into it. If you want to come on screen and ask Andre a question yourself, totally open to that as well. I promise you he will not underdeliver there. And if you haven't joined the Best Places to Lead Facebook group, I encourage that as well. And if you get a minute to drop Jerry a review on iTunes, you haven't done that, let's do that. But without further ado, I want to start with Andre. Andre, as we do this show, when I reached out to you, we kind of do this like monthly cadence of themes. And Jerry, a couple of weeks ago, showed up and he shared with everybody his Pentagon of Personal Success, which is like a slump buster kind of methodology that had a couple of different keystones to it. One of them was your morning rituals and your daily routines. And I would love to start the conversation with how you talk about the 5 points of the day. Tell me about your 5 points of the day, and let's get it started there, and we'll dive into that.
Oh, the 5 points of your day. I came up with this years ago. I started living it before I even titled it anything, as most of us do. And it really significantly evolved my life, both professionally and personally. And I remember my last job as an employee, a coworker came up to me and said, Andre, how you have one of those bad mornings? And I realized I hadn't had a bad morning since 2011. Now, I've had busy mornings. At one point, I had 3 kids. I was a single father, and they went to 3 different schools, and I commuted to work an hour and a half away. I've had busy mornings. However, I haven't had a bad morning since 2011 because I realized I've been doing this thing every morning, but doing these things every day. And I saw how I was showing up to work, showing up to my life, showing up to my relationships that significantly made my life better and what attracted people. So it really comes down to this. We all have 24 hours in a day. Leaders, we can all be leaders when you choose to be, okay? Whether you're a leader in an organization, you're leading your own life. Leaders use their 24 hours differently from everyone else. So the first thing that I was doing in the morning, and I implore everyone to do, is be mindful of what we put in here and in here when we first wake up in the morning. There's a lot of noble employees and leaders and people around the world. They wake up and the first thing that they do is grab their phone and start checking emails. Want to start hating your job? Do that day after day, week after week, month after month, decade after decade, and see how you feel about your job. I don't even get into my emails until 11 a.m., but I've set up my business that I can. I scan for the money in the morning, but I don't get into the black hole in the morning. So being mindful of what you put in here and here is what you're putting in here and in here, helping you to be better instead of bitter first thing in the morning. So for me, I was going to bed every night when I started my business, coming up with a quote positive, obviously, positive quote to put out to the world. And I was waking up and I was putting a question to go along with that quote. Then I started making videos and I started watching short motivational videos. It's hard to have a bad morning and start living a bad life because you start to become what you consume. So doing that repetitiously, it changed my mornings. So being mindful of what you put in here and here. For maybe it's watching me. You said you downloaded the app. Maybe it's meditation, prayer, yoga, getting up and having your coffee before your kids get up. Whatever it is it making you better or bitter? The second part is organizing your day. We all can be so anxious with the tornado of things we have to do. I'm big on language. Want to evolve your life? Evolve your language. Get to do. I like to say get to do. 7.5 billion people on this planet, Pablo. More than half of them will take everything you have right now. They take your job, your wife, your car, your job, your kids, everything you complain about. So that tornado of things you get to do. But let's organize it. You get to where you've chosen to be, cracking open the laptop to work, write it down. What's your list? What do you get to do today? What does it take for you to effectively lead your life and run your business? Now, the parts that's missing with that is that type A people get to cross off the list. And that's a good thing. Cross some things off. Things that don't get crossed off go on to tomorrow's list. However, that list runs the risk of making you busy instead of better. So before my feet hit the floor in the morning and I pull the covers back and my feet hit the floor, I say two things. One, let's be great and have some fun today. Too many people being great and not having enough fun. Too many people having fun and not being great. So let's be great and have some fun today. And then I ask myself what my wins are. So before my feet hit the floor, I know what my wins are. I have purpose in my day. So when I organize my list at the top margin, I put down wins. So I know what my wins are. If anything gets crossed off, they do. Because the wins evolve your day and your life. The busy work needs to happen still. But busy doesn't always evolve your life and your relationships and such. Point number 3, relationship building and self-care. Want to live the best life of your dreams professionally or personally, enhance work-life harmony? When you hit the wall at your 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, do something for yourself. Are you remembering to eat? I love what I get to do. I love it so much, I'll forget to eat. So it might be remembering to eat. Dang on it, maybe you need to eat with somebody else. COVID living, your significant other's home, have lunch with them. Summertime, your kids are home, have lunch, go somewhere with them. Maybe you need to take a walk by yourself and have lunch with no one. You're scrolling, who do you subscribe to? So when you're looking at your phone, what's happening? What's getting in here? Relationship building during that time means each and every person on this call has someone that they care about and that they love. What would it take to send a text to that person? Hey, I was just thinking about you. I love you. I hope you're having an amazing day. My wife is right upstairs right now. We work together from home and I can send her a text. Hey, beautiful, I hope your day is going as amazing as you are. Can't wait to see you. It sets up the second half of my day nicely as it will yours because it's a gift, not only for them, but for you, for how it impacts how you feel and behave. Number 4 is how we return home. Yanake, oh, I'm sorry if I said your name wrong there. I'm sure
Yannicka.
if you would hire people at your job, you would not hire anyone that be looking as if they'd rather be anywhere else, dragging themselves around and TGIFing Monday through Thursday. Saddest part is that's how most of us return home, though. We shut down that laptop. Summerlin, we kick through that door. We drive home from work, and you wouldn't believe this day. This was so stupid. You wouldn't believe that. And we're super negative to the point where your spouse sees you coming, your kids see you coming, they running in different directions because mom or dad's coming home. So how do we return home the way we would want our employees walking through the door? So know what you need to do for yourself to make that happen. Maybe it's a 15-minute shower. Maybe it's taking that walk. Maybe it's having a drink. Don't drink every day. You don't want to get into that, okay? For me, it was going to the gym. It would allow me my second win. And it was the only time that for an hour it could be all about me. And then I could put my cape back on and be super husband, super dad, super everything. The last point, It's the best question every human being can ask themselves. At the end of the night, before you close your eyes, ask yourself, what was my biggest accomplishment of the day? Having an answer to that question will allow you to have won the day instead of the day consistently kicking your butt. Because it's so unfortunate. I hear from so many people and so many women that they lay in bed at night and all they can think about is all the things they didn't get done today and all of the things they have to do tomorrow. What was your biggest accomplishment? Give yourself that pat on your back. Your brain is so fast. Do you know what you've accomplished by this time today already? I'm sure you have more than one big accomplishment. And if you care enough, ask your significant other, ask your kids, what was theirs? I guarantee you don't know their answer. And now you know what to celebrate them for. Say you're proud of them for. Give them a hug about. So that's the 5 points. And it's significantly impacted my life professionally and personally. And I will say, going back to organizing your day, please organize who you choose to hang around when you get to work, where you said you wanted to be, and throughout your day and your life. Organize that. Pablo, you and I talked about, the things I do once a month to organize it. Yeah. You get to work, you know the grumpy Gus's, the negative Nicks and Nancy's, you know the water cooler conversation and gossipers. As leaders, we head up, eyes up, smile, greet, and do the Queen's wave to everyone. But that's not where you stop and live. So that's the 5 points. It's been tremendous for me. I would really, maybe even in the chat, I don't know if this is appropriate. What point stood out for you? What point that resonated with you to say, that point right there, I've either been doing or I need to do, I want to do, I like.
Yeah, I'd love to hear that in the chat, or if you want to come on and ask a question about it, let us know. Andre, I tell you, man, when I listen to you, I recently heard you speak up in the Growth Now Movement Summit, right? And I saw you kind of like go through this stuff from stage, which was like a fireball of energy. And one of the big things that really stood out to me was this: how do I return home? The idea of having a great day at work and coming home to like talk about work when perhaps my wife isn't there for that right now, right? Like, and kind of like can ruin my day at work. Or if I show up having a crappy day at work, ready to just like spew it all over my wife, it can ruin her day after having a great day at work. And the idea of what is that thing that cleanses the palate, resets my energy, and allows me to come home, therefore what I am there for at home, number one, and be able to pour into that most important relationship. I find that is a kind of like compounding interest ball, that the more that I am feeding that beast, not to call my wife, right? Like the more that I'm feeling, the more that I'm feeling, that's terrible choice of words. The more that I'm, feeding that habit, the better things become around me, because that's my center, right? I wonder in your experience, where does that lie as far as the prioritization of the energy between work and home, and kind of that middle ground of reset? Are there 3 spaces in a day, or is that like a transition space that's different?
Well, some of us have more than 3 spaces in a day, depending on your life and your lifestyle. So, I have a space in my life when I wake up at 5:30 in the morning before the world wakes up, at least my world wakes up. Then I have the period in my day when my 3-year-old daughter wakes up, and that's a whole new spin. Then I have the period of work, and then I have the period of lunch, and then I have the period before 5 o'clock when my older kids need different things, and I become a professional Uber driver as I'm driving them around to their practices and events and sporting things. Then when my daughter goes to sleep, and then late night. So you can have as many phases of your day. The thing is knowing what you need. And not only knowing what you need, making time and taking time to do so. When I was an employee and I was commuting to work, people would complain about the commute. And although I didn't like the time, I loved getting in the car and have that de-escalation period of no music and just winding down. I was a mental health therapist for 19 years. and the things that I heard on a daily basis, I wanted to cleanse my palate before I got home. Okay. Then I was working closer to home. Well, let me get to the gym. Now you have people doing hybrid work. So the roles of the day have been, your personal roles and professional roles have been blended more than ever before, because you don't have that drive home from work. So you go from one boom, 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 right to the other. And I realized for me, starting to throttle down around 4:30 before I go and get my son to take him to football at 5:30, I needed that time. And the thing is, to be so great and better when you get back from that thing that you know you needed, allowing the people in your life and in your household to give you permission to go do that. And Paul, I like how you are when you come back from doing that thing. Go do that, please. Be so great after doing it, they have to give you permission because they like how you are from it. And you start to set a standard. And it was years ago, my wife and I, our 5 o'clocks were inherently different. She was commuting from work by herself in the car. My 5 o'clock, I had 3 kids in the car, getting them to all of their different events after school. So she would get on the phone with me calling from work, wanting to complain about her day. And I love my wife, but my 5 o'clock was different from hers. So I said, baby, I love you. And I want to hear what you have to say. My 5 o'clock is a little different and it's hard for me to focus while I'm in the car. How about we have this conversation at 9 o'clock when they go to bed, and I know I'm a great listener with a glass of wine in one hand, a cigar in another. I hit mute on the TV and you got me all night. We can talk about anything you want. Now, I'm not saying that conversation went as smoothly as it sounds. However, it goes that way now. So it's pretty cool.
That's interesting you say that, right? Because if I were to flip the script and now it's taking me back to when we were living in Miami, and my wife used to work at this like really toxic environment, and we had one car because we lived in an urban center and we didn't really need a car kind of thing. And I would always pick her up and she'd get in and just like immediately be like, oh my God, what happened at work was this. And I remember the conversation of, hey boo, I feel like it'd be a great idea if the first time we see each other when I pick you up, this isn't the conversation that we have. And it didn't go over very well in the moment, but then we leaned into it and it really made a difference. And as I think about it now, it feels like it's one of these like constant conversations, like this moment of transition that one needs to be more and more aware of, right? We talk about inflection points, and your kids are all in inflection points, but we all have inflection points in our day. And the importance of tuning into those inflection points reminds me of this like story that, I don't know if it's a story or a framework that Brene Brown talks about, of going from the dance floor to the balcony, and how there's a space in between, right? Like when you're in the dance floor, you're in like the busy zone. When you're in the balcony, you're in strategy mode. And sometimes you're like in the dance floor and then you got to go up there and then you got to explain to people on the dance floor what you saw from here.
Yeah.
But she said that the stairs.
My question becomes for that in between is, what was the best part of your day? What was your win in today? What was the good part of your day? So I stopped asking people, hey, how was your day? I stopped that a long time ago. If you want to find out who people really are, ask them that. How was your day? Oh, it's too cold, it's too rainy, it's too wet, it's always going to be too something. And if you listen long enough, they'll tell you how much they hate their job. You listen even longer, they'll get to their relationship. All you got to do is shut up and listen and they'll knock it down. So I started saying, what was good about your day? What was the best part of your day? What was your win today? And then you force them to share something good. And eventually over time, that's what they expect you to say. So they stop bringing, because when you say, you're being very negative, why don't we talk a different way? What your significant other, male, female, doesn't matter. You don't want to talk to me, or I'll just keep it to myself, or I'll tell somebody else. Like, I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is, what I really want to say is, that's very negative and I don't want to hear it. But what you really mean is, I want to hear more positive things, because what I shared with my wife and I share with anybody else, I can sum up therapy in 30 seconds. What you think and speak about all day long will impact how you feel, then your actions, and then your consequences thereafter, either negative or positive. Period. So you get in the car every day talking bad about your job, your life, your wife, your husband, your kids. How the heck did you think you were going to skip to it and like it the next day or a month later or 5 years later? So one day I asked, are you going to quit? Because you don't seem to like it very much, and you can. You're an asset. The answer is yes. Then great. We can stop complaining. If the answer is no, then what's good about it?
I love that, man. I love that because now if I build in that habit of what's good about your day, and you know we start. It's funny because at work we start all our meetings with what are we grateful for today, and then we go into the meeting, right, which sets that right frame of mind. I never thought to bring that into my personal life of just instead of hey, how was your day? What was good about your day? I love that. I'm immediately implementing that from here on out, and I feel like that's going to solve for the cycle of forgetting. You know, the habit of that middle space can really help with it.
And here's the key to that. Please never minimize what they say. For some people, because I start my meetings and one-on-ones with what's your positive of the week? I share mine professionally or personally. You can ask your kids, they get in the car from school. Wait, what was the best part of your day? Lunch. Oh, it couldn't have been lunch. Tell me something else educational that you learned. No, maybe they didn't learn anything. Maybe they didn't like anything. Lunch was great. Instead of minimizing it. Oh, so Mike, what was good about lunch? What'd y'all do? Oh, well, we were playing football and I threw this pass or this and that. Well, who are you playing with? Okay, well, it was recess. Or you have some people in business say, well, Maria, I'm on the right side of the dirt today. Don't minimize it. You have no idea what that person was struggling with or is struggling with, and they could have been chewing on a barrel last night. And here we are minimizing them being on the right side of the dirt. It might have took everything in their power to drag themselves out of bed and come to work.
Yeah, that reminds me of something Jerry talks about a lot, which is like lead with curiosity instead of judgment, right? Like approach with wonder instead of judgment, which I think is another good framework to add in. I want to ask you about the beginning and end of the day, right? Like I love how your language has evolved around all of it. You used to have a separate speaking point of the bookends of your day, right? Like how you start asking yourself what's a win and what's good, and then how you finish with what did I win today? You know, what were my wins today? What if you feel like you didn't have a win that day? Is that like a recipe for setting you up for a bad morning, or is there some way to?
Well, my first thought that popped into my mind is not possible. You had some wins. Now I've had bad days. I've had wins in bad days. I've had wins when I was first starting my business. And I went through a divorce 16 years ago and still have wins. So there's wins, and they don't all have to be big. You don't have to sign the major account. You didn't have to win the lottery. There's some wins. Now, when you find that things are not going your way, our way in life, you don't know the direction that you're going, and it's hard to find wins, then there's two things that I would suggest people to do and really look at. Number one is simply live right. All of the things that you are supposed to do that day, whether it was going to work, did you show up on time? Did you meet a deadline? Did you do all of these things? Were you nice to people or your coworkers? Do all the, you went to school, don't even like being there. Did you get the assignments done? Did you study for the test? Did you do all of the things? You're in a relationship. Maybe the relationship is on the bricks right now and it's not what you dream of. However, did you make eye contact? Did you ask them what their best part of their day was? Did you tell them they look nice before they left the house? All of these things that we can do in our relationship, simply live right. And what happens is you will start to develop wins. And whether it worked out in your way or not may not always be the win. The win is that we can put our heads on the pillow in peace, knowing you did what you were supposed to do. There's wins in that. So you didn't get that reaction because you told your partner they looked nice and they ignored you and they walked out the door. You can pat yourself, I did what I was supposed to do. This relationship ends. It's not because I didn't do my part. Okay, I didn't get that right. I did my part. You get that stuff. So simply live right, because when things start to work out, or you do get the vision, and now you know where you want to go, you don't have to climb out of such a deep hole that you made for yourself. And you go into the next opportunity with great habits. The second thing that I would implore people to do is, what is your vision for your life professionally or personally? Relationally, what's your vision for your life? Too many people are waking up on autopilot and simply doing the day, getting through the day, living the dream. And anybody that says living the dream, Pablo, you know, like I know, they're not living the dream. You're on autopilot. So what's your vision for your life professionally? Maybe what is it personally, relationally? Now, a lot of people don't have a vision. Those that have a vision, I guarantee you, they don't have the vision factors. The vision factors is once you know your vision, what you want, what are the 3 to 5 things that when you do them consistently, the vision takes care of itself? Personally, for me, I want my vision for my marriage. I want to be that old couple going down the grocery store, holding hands and me squeezing my wife's backside when we're 85 years old. That's what I want to be. Well, what's the 3 to 5 things to make that happen? One, I need to know my wife's love language and speak it, even though it might not be what I enjoy. I need to celebrate her successes, even though I don't like them. And what I mean, my wife loves home projects. I can't stand house projects. I can't stand how long they last, that she wants to do them herself, how long the house is a mess because of it. The output, the end game is great. I hate the process. I really do. However, in those moments, I need to say, hey, baby, it looks great. This is doing fantastic. I got the kids. You need some water, because I used to want to help and click on my so-called man button and do house projects. I don't like them, and then we fight. So now I know what to do. Hey, you've been doing a great job. Boom. The other thing I need to do is set dates. My wife can be very OCD, so she gets trapped in her projects. I say, hey, don't plan anything on Tuesday. I'm taking you out. I have her full attention. I do those 3 things consistently. Life ain't bad. Professionally, I want to be the best in my space, getting wealthy in time and money and the ideas I create in the company that I run. The vision sounds cute, does nothing. The 3 things I know I need to do is create great content, books, articles, videos, trainings. Then I need to network appropriately. Where are my people and how do I best connect? And then 3, I need to create passive income opportunities based off of my thing. I do those 3 things, my vision comes true. So live right, get your vision, understand what your vision factors are, do them consistently and watch what happens, because you can evolve them as necessary. You got to do it consistently and stop blaming busy for stopping you, because life can't wait to gut punch you and give you every noble reason in the world to stop. So that's what I was doing.
Yeah, I love so much about what you're talking about, right? So number one, Mike Hines puts here in the chat. I love how you're taking ownership of the negative things and turning them into opportunities to grow, literally building the emotional muscles for life as you go, right? Like this idea that you're always reframing, you're kind of, if something feels negative, or you look for the positive, you prompt the positive, right? And that will continue to build the muscle. And overall, what I hear in the message is focusing on the inputs, with the idea that you can only focus on the inputs if you have an appropriate vision, right? So like the casting the vision and knowing where you want to go, and having that North Star, and then decreeing the inputs, and then just focusing on this piece allows you to be kind to yourself, because it removes you from the daily outcomes as much as feeling like you're serving a purpose is kind of how I'm putting it together.
You have to be an intentional learner. What are you learning from your failures? What are you learning from the successes? And then you have to apply it, and then apply it consistently and evolve it as necessary. I'm telling you, it's not complicated. Choosing to do it daily, it's about consistency and intent. That's what life is. Consistency and intent. You can do that. You can live a great life professionally or personally.
Consistency and intent. I like that, man. Are these vision factors that you have? Do you keep them present around you? Like, do you keep them in Post-it notes? Do you have them written in the mirror? Is there anything to that? Is that something you write down every day?
Yeah, absolutely. So in my mirror in my bathroom, brush your teeth, I have my vision up there. So I have my vision on a whiteboard. I already know I have my vision factors right there. Now, the one thing that I do add every Sunday night. So I have my vision factors. I already know what they are. I don't have to be up there, but I like seeing them. Why not? but then I have my goals for the week. So I look at my schedule on Sunday night, and I know, okay, I'm going to be talking about 3 different companies this week. Okay, close so and so, close so and so, close so and so. Go to the gym 4 times, 4 slashes. Get 3 people on LinkedIn to say they want to do a Zoom ///. Do a thought of the week video. Do a podcast. So I'm constantly crossing off wins all the time. And whether it means something it does mean something for me, but guess who else brushes their teeth in our bathroom? My 3-year-old.
Oh,
She doesn't know what that is, but she sees it every day. Okay? She sees it every day. When we get in the car and we riding around, guess who's listening to short motivational videos? She don't know what it is, but she'll know what it is. So the visual, and then you get caught being great. You know, my 14-year-old comes in the bathroom, hey, Dad, can I borrow something? I need some cologne or something. He sees it. You know, so you start creating these habits, not only for you, but other people. And my last job as an employee, really quick, it was the most humbling experience because I had started my business and my business was making some money. My wife wanted to build a new house. My business was not build a new house money. Okay. So I needed a job and I wanted a job. I was leaving mental health. I was retiring from that. I wanted a frontline job that would allow me Monday and Tuesdays off. So, because I knew that I would not fail and I could only catapult myself if I could do my business for 48 hours unabated. So how did at the time, I had 12 staff. I took a retail furniture sales job at Bob's Discount Furniture. Go Bob's, okay? At this retail store. Barnes & Noble right next door that we were connected to had my book. So how did I have a book in this store, 12 staff, and I'm sitting here selling furniture? The best thing that ever happened to me, because it proved that what I was teaching from leadership down worked from employee up. And I got to walk in as a frontline person that nobody knew. How customers came in and said, aren't you that evolving guy? But here's one of the things that was so great. Customers came in when I was selling to them and they said, this isn't all that you do. You do something else. Personal leadership matters. Everything that I was doing every day, they couldn't say what it was, but they felt it. There were certain employees that were ready for change, ready for evolving, ready to be positive. And you start being like a beacon. You're attractive to them. And then the negative Nicks and Nancys know not to bring this stuff your way. But guess who came when they were down in the dumps, had a bad time, really needed advice? They come. So you, as whoever you are, you're not for everybody. However, will you still be great? Will you still exist when they're not ready? Get ready. Do they know where to come? And that was such a fulfilling experience for a year to work there. Humbling, life-changing, impactful, and it really let me know that what I was doing was working from every direction. And now I get to be on stage and speak from every single level.
I did not know that about you, man. Super interesting, because I love the concept of how you are acting for yourself, rippling out into the people that are around you and you most want to affect is a very real thing. And I feel like I've thought of that before. I've also thought about the other side of it, which is become the bat signal for the thing that you want to attract. The way that you described it right now, it almost feels like a self-filling loop, right? Like it feels like those ripples. It's like if that signal was causing the ripples, and in a circular motion, it kind of feeds itself, because you're describing this idea that you're affecting people around you while shining this beacon that empowers them to feel a little bit better or know where to find the answers that they need,
Yes.
which then
Yes.
brings back a positive feedback loop that validates, the things that you believe in, that then empowers you more to shine brighter and then create bigger and bigger ripples. I had never really seen it as this like positive feedback loop, but the way that you just described it seems like a self-filling cycle, right?
Oh, it's fantastic. And it works just like that. And you're not going to be quote unquote perfect every day. One of the best things that ever happened is when you, as that beacon, slip up and have a bad moment. Okay? People are looking and they're like, oh, see, he or she, they bleed. They're not perfect. They're not this, they're not that. And that's good. However, leaders bounce back faster than everybody else. Leaders get to say, I apologize. I was out of character. That's not going to happen. They don't but, should, well, blame and deflect it. Hey, look, I was having a bad moment. That's not like me. That's not going to happen again. I apologize. Let's get back to it. And then they go, oh my God, because they're so happy they caught you. See, you can't be that perfect. And then they go, oh. And then you start to recruit without, recruiting. And it's amazing, how that happens. So you're going to have a bad day. You're going to have a bad moment when some things happen. Leaders bounce back faster than everybody else. And when that's on display for your people to see, it's a great, great model. And it just kicks back great people, great business, great opportunity. Opportunity. Because so many people are watching. My son is a quarterback for the going into his freshman year of high school football. I said, son, you don't know who knows you. You think you're walking around here and nobody knows who you are. When you walk by, I hear little kids say, oh, that's Mason Young. That's what they say to their parents. You don't know who you are. You got to understand who you are. So when I'm in the grocery store, I'm Andre Young. My job is to be as the same person I was on this show out in the world. Can you be that same person that you was when you're at your best trying to get that deal or get that opportunity? You that same person over dinner, in the grocery store, hanging with your friends? Consistency and intent. You don't know who's watching, and you don't know where the next opportunity is coming from.
Awesome, man. Listen, I would love anybody, if you hear, Summerlin, Mike, Bill, Craig, Yannicka, if you want to chime in on this conversation, I'm going to ask Andre one more question of something else I want to talk about. But if you want to hit the reactions or raise your hand or chime in the chat, I would love either questions for him or additions to this and be a part of the conversation. I'd love that. Andre, one of the last points I wanted to get to of your frameworks is your get great questions, right? Like how you describe this thing that when you're trying to achieve something, it's not about figuring out how to serve your needs. It's about serving others. Can you talk through your get great questions?
Oh, absolutely. A couple things. We all have these bully words that we use. You want to change your life, change your language. And one of the bully words that bully us out of our success, our leadership, our relationship, one of them is deserve. I deserve that raise. I deserve that promotion. I deserve that relationship, whatever it is. The fact is, you don't have it if you're complaining about it. And stomping our feet and having a temper tantrum is not likely to get it for you. And even if it did, look at how you got it. You won't respect it. The other part about leadership for me is I believe leadership is about a marriage, preferably creating a great one, okay? So it's marrying what you want to do and give, marrying it with what the person receiving your effort needs most right now. And that's where we get in trouble. So I want a great marriage. I want to get a raise. I want to be the starting QB, whatever it is you want. This is what I'm willing to do about it. This is what I believe. When I do this, I get it and I deserve it. And when it doesn't happen, guess what? We get to have a professional or personal temper tantrum of, look how much I do. I deserve. So we replace deserve with the get great question. And the get great question sounds like this. Hey, Mike, I want to be great here. I want to get this raise, or I want to get this bonus, or I want to start more. I want to be the starting QB. What do you need most from me right now? And then, because we're leader enough to ask the question, we must be leader enough to shut up and listen. I have no idea what Mike is want to say. This is not the time for me to retort. So Mike says something and I say, well, I defend. I already do that. What do you mean, Mike? Or Mike says something, I'm like, I can't believe you said that. I'm never talking to you again in the world. Mike, you must be crazy. Like, we can't do that. We don't defend or deflect. We consume the information. And whatever Mike says, when it's reasonable, doable, and fair for who you are and where you want to go, here's the trick. You do it a little bit outside of your comfort zone. But I don't want to do it so much that I wind up hating Mike's guts and resenting the task. So I ask my wife, what do you need most from me right now? You ask your coach, what do you need most? You ask your employer or your employee, what do you need most from me? And then we listen and we consume. We marry what we want to do, still do what you want to do, marry it with what they need most. And it's hard to lose. Now, you don't have to do what they say. However, you cannot complain about what you don't get. Is that fair? Now, I do need to share one more thing, because here's how most people you ask the get great question to is going to answer it. So, Yannicka, guess what they say? You say, I want to be great here. What do I need to do most right now? What do you need most from me right now? You know what most people say? Just keep doing what you're doing. It is the worst and most laziest leadership answer in the world. However, we need to understand why. Summer Lynn, you could have asked this question, and all of a sudden, they didn't expect you to ask it. This is old information to you, an old question for you, brand new for them. They may not believe that you can handle their truth right in this moment. Maybe they haven't thought about it. Maybe they're not quick on their feet. Shoot, maybe they had to pee and you interrupted them from going to the bathroom. I don't know. So most people say, just keep doing what you're doing. And how we respond to that, the judo to this, is, wow, thank you so much for saying that. I really appreciate that. However, I really want to know, is there a better time we could talk this week or next? Because I really want to know. And as people, as leaders, we have to give people permission to tell us the truth. I can go upstairs and ask my wife right now, and I have, what do you need most from me right now? Oh, no, you're good. No, we're not. Because if we got in a fight tomorrow, you would have something to gripe about. So what do you need? I really want to know. I'll ask you tomorrow. If the answer is the same, great. If not, great. I want to know. So that's the get great question. Marry what you want to do and give with what the person receiving it needs most, and it's hard to lose.
Okay, awesome. So it's not just, so I'm hearing from you, I want to get great. What do we need to do? But it's really just like, hey, I expect Q1 to us as a team to hit these metrics. What do you need from me right now? Individual person.
What do you need most from me right now? Because you could think people prioritize funny at work. They tend to prioritize by either what they think is important or the title of the person who gave it to them. So if the CEO says, hey, Paul, I need this done, you'll prioritize that. But your team and your deadline is something else. So you did all of this busy work, but now somebody's having a tough conversation with you about something else you didn't do. So sometimes we have to make our leaders lead us, help our coaches to coach us. Help me to prioritize this, please. What do you need most from me right now? Because right now I'm doing 12 things and I don't know which one's most important. Yeah. And then we sit back and listen. And there we go.
I like that. And then the other piece is the idea that for sure, the first 10 times you ask this question, you're going to get this answer of like, no, you're good, right? Like that's a common answer. The idea is to keep seeding that question so that stays. Is that something that has to do with just like put it in their reticular activator so that at some point that they're solving for that subconsciously and then they can have that answer? Is that kind of how that works?
Yeah, I'm a big believer. I don't want to pester anybody for it. Like, so if I'm at work and I ask my boss or I ask my employees and they say I'm good, I say, hey, look, I appreciate you saying that. I really do want to know, is there a better time next week? I'm available Thursday at 1, Friday at 3. I really want to lock down a time. If you're expecting people to randomly get back to you outside of their busy, it's not likely, you know? So if I'm at work, I'm documenting that. Hey, thanks so much, boss, or thanks so much, employee. I appreciate you being willing to answer my question. I look forward to hearing from you, because a conversation that's not documented didn't happen. So all of a sudden they want to crucify you for something that you didn't do, but you have no documentation that you talked to an employer or employee about it. Now, I don't suggest you go documenting this conversation with your wife or your husband or boyfriend or girlfriend. You could, but it might not work out. If you're not hearing anything, then what more really can you do? You can't read minds, okay? You've asked the question. They remember you asking the question. Simply do what you feel is necessary. Keep your eyes open and be a team player as much as possible. And things go great. You're a part of the solution. You're a part of everything good. Things don't. Your head is on the pillow at peace saying, I've asked. You have not answered. You're not communicating with me. I am open. I need you to be open with me. it takes two to do great. It takes two to do bad. I can't pull this along by myself. So please communicate. I want to hear it. Now, when they do communicate, if you're beating your chest and rah every time they say something, then why would they? How do you create a track record that you are easy to communicate with?
Got it, man. All right, Andre, I want to open up the space for anybody that wants to share anything, ask a question. In the meantime, Andre, if I see you on mute, we'll go to you. Andre, what's the best way to connect with you these days, man? Is it LinkedIn or call attention to anything that you'd like to call attention to, or anything that folks need to know about you?
Sure. Best way to connect with me is everywhere. So you got LinkedIn. You could go to Andre Young or You Evolving Now. So YOU Evolving Now. You could do Facebook at You Evolving Now. My email is Andre, ANDRE, at youevolvingnow.com. I love being able to connect with people, whether it's email, if it's Zoom or things like that. I love being able to do that and be of value and impact and meet great people around the world. So yeah, those are the best ways to be able to do so. Or my website, youevolvingnow.com. Everything is right there, centrally located, from books, videos, apps, podcasts, everything is there.
Awesome, man. Yannicka has a really good question here. She's asking, thanks, Yannicka, for contributing. I appreciate that. I really liked what you said at the beginning about being aware of what you consume and who you follow. What suggestions do you have for morning motivation?
Oh, that's a great question. I love it. So for me, suggestions wise, what I listen to, I was going to YouTube and I would type in short motivational videos. I love Dr. Miles Monroe. I like, oh my goodness, Jim Rohn, like old school, like and we have such different styles. I'm highly motivated and ripping all over the stage. Jim Rohn is so calm. It's like your dad talking to you, so that's really cool. I'm also big on who you subscribe to via Instagram and Facebook. So I love watching Reels, because you can get trapped in for a half hour scrolling through Reels. However, be mindful of who you subscribe to, because that's what pops up. No one knows you better than your phone. So, like, are you interested in finance? Are you interested in motivation? Like, subscribe to that stuff. So when you do go to your phone, I know when I'm scrolling, I'm growing. Now, there's a little bit of entertainment in there. Wow, that was funny. Okay. But when I'm scrolling, I'm growing. So that's a really big thing. And then, hey, me, non-shameless plug, you can download me and watch me. So I like a lot of different people. I do listen to Eric Thomas. I like some of his things from a motivational standpoint. We come from a very similar background. So that's always interesting. But I love anybody that's saying something powerful. So I don't have like, a design bucket.
Awesome. Maria's going to share the link to your app now in the chat. If anybody wants to go there, that's been awesome for me. Also Andre's book, the 7 Ways to Lead. It's written kind of like, it's like a series of like leadership vignettes. Like it's like a page and a half of different leadership points. So it makes really good, like wake up, 5-minute read, go to your day. I've become a big fan of that stuff as well.
Hey, I have a new one coming out.
Let's go.
On the Leader's Toolbox. It's available for pre-order on Amazon now. However, on shelves in December this year.
Mike Hines, you're raising your hand. I want to have you on, man. What's up?
Yeah, man. Andre, I don't know if we're already married or something. My face started to blush. You're saying those things. It's like, as you're calling out my name. It's like, oh, dear Lord, this guy's either telepathic or he can read minds. I don't know. But I was on a call earlier today as kind of leading a discussion about empathy in the workplace. And we got into the topics of bias and having hard conversations and kind of shifting leaders out of kind of some of that old school military style top down into effectively what you're already talking about. You got any kind of tips or ideas on how to kind of get people who are, even in the leadership positions that are not yet ready?
This is what I do for a living. I travel the world to organizations and help leaders and employees in frontline enhance their leadership and work-life harmony. So one of the things that is in 7 Ways to Lead is called the Leader 7. The 7 languages your people need, want, and benefit most hearing from leadership. There's 5 types of leaders, okay? 5 types of employees, 5 types of managers. One of the leaders, and you're talking about, is that old school, intense mentality. So if the leader says jump, you hit your head on the moon. That style has phased out. However, there's still some leaders doing that. And it doesn't always mean that intense style is bad, okay? So there's different pros and concerns to each style of leadership. Now, when that style is failing, even the motivator style is not for everybody. The example style isn't for everyone. The connector style, where everybody's somebody's friend, isn't for everyone. So here's the 7 languages. And in trainings, I teach, how do you speak these 7? Because as leaders, we need to be able to speak all 7. You as a leader have a top 1 or 2 languages. So does your people. So when you can lead with their language, you're always leading with impacting. You're always leading, inspiring, and motivating. How do you speak it in casual times? And then how do you speak it in tough conversations? So I'll give you the 7 languages just to give you an example. Number 1 is goodie time. Okay, this is the employee that's highly motivated and inspired by goodies. You want to move them up the chain and get knowledge and advancement and great training. All they want is some freaking donuts. Give them donuts. Okay, so goodie time. There's some employees that are quality minutes. These are employees that want to have a couple of minutes of conversation with the boss that's not work-related conversation. They want more connection. Then you have recognition and affirmation. This is the employee that's motivated and impacted by the pat on the back. Hey, Paul, you did a great job with this. It really helped with that. Then there's knowledge and advancement, or knowledge and or advancement. Bill, this is the employee that's highly motivated because they want to sit in your seat one day. Craig, they want to sit in your spot. They want knowledge and advancement. Now, everyone that wants knowledge doesn't necessarily want to advance. We spend a lot of effort on our emerging leaders. You got like 15 of them in your company of 400. You have more steady streams that don't want to move up, don't want your raise, don't want your headache, and they make up most of your thing. That's a steady stream. It's okay. They want more knowledge. How do they be great right where they are? How do you help them with that? And then maybe one day they do want to move up because you spoke their language, you took care of them. They're still there when they're ready. Next is incentives. This is the employee that wants to be incentivized. And a lot of leaders have a tough time with that because I shouldn't, bully word, have to do more for you to do what I already paid to do. Well, tough nuggets, they circled it. Some people are motivated by incentives. It could be gift cards, it could be bonuses, it could be all of those different things, company competition, incentives. The 6th one is flexibility. The people who speak flexibility on your team, one of 2 things. A, they want to be able to work in a flexible manner. COVID helped all of those people out. Can I work in a flexible manner? 2, can my ideas be flexibly implemented into the process of things? Lastly, respect. Biggest drop list when I asked employees, how can your employees show you respect? Number one, they said, is do I have the tools to be successful? Do I have the tools to be successful? Hard to be the best machinist in the plant if the daggone machine keeps breaking. Hard to be this if I can't get proper training. Okay, do I have the tools to be successful? Number 2, tone of voice. Please ask, don't tell. You guys are the boss. You can always tell later. We don't start there. Number 3 that I added is email etiquette. Has you guys on this call ever had a boss tell you, don't worry about that email I send at 10:30, 11:30, 1 o'clock in the morning. You don't have to respond to it. I just want to get it out of my head. As if that wipes away your anxiety of what the heck is going on? Why is my phone ringing, dinging, and chiming? Well, Maria's up for that raise. She answered it. Should I? It doesn't wipe away anxiety. So schedule the send to your emails. Not to mention, you may not know the psychopath your employees are sleeping next to. Let a phone ring in the wrong bedroom at 1 o'clock in the morning from a boss. Who's that? Who's texting you? All of a sudden, you're in an argument in somebody's bedroom that they don't have the courage to come in to work and tell you to stop and knock it off. Email etiquette. How do you, there's a boss out there that when he wants coffee, he emails his assistant the capital letter C. Can you believe it? Needless to say, this person goes through about 7 assistants a year. Email etiquette. Positive sandwich your emails. Hey, Pablo, happy Thursday. I hope everything is going great! Exclamation point. Hey, I'm reaching out. I wanted to reconnect because of this. I look forward to hearing from you. Have an awesome day! Exclamation point. How much more time does that take? Especially in hybrid and remote work, Pablo may only know me through email. I want to be on the top of his list, not underneath his pile because of a poorly worded email. Email etiquette matters. So those are the 7. You choose to use this. Please know that languages change over time. You ask every year. I started off as knowledge and advancement and respect. I ended my employee career as flexibility and respect. So always lead with their language, okay? Which one resonates the least with you? Know that, because that's who you're going to struggle the most with. So, and then when it's time to have the tough conversation, how's this, Bill? You mentioned your language was knowledge and advancement. Hey, Bill, you got a second? Hey, well, one, I'm going to onboard Bill. Hey, Bill, great to have you on the team. We're so excited. Like with anything, we're going to have some great times here. We're going to celebrate all those successes. As with anything, we may have some hiccups. And from time to time, I might have to say something that's hard to hear or ask some questions, but I wouldn't be doing my job if I didn't. Is that going to be okay? Beware who the heck says no. So now when the boo-boo has happened, hey, Bill, you got a second? Hey, you remember that time when I said I might have to ask some questions about some things? Okay, you ready? And you'll see Bill smiling now. People smiling, brace for impact. Hey, you mentioned you've been doing great, Bill Positive. You've been doing great with showing up on time. The team seems to like you very much. You mentioned your language was knowledge and advancement. It's going to be hard for you to advance with deadlines not being made so consistently. Can you help me to understand what's going on with that? That's how we have tough conversations, use the language. In casual times, I know Bill's knowledge and advancement. Hey, Bill, you mentioned your language was knowledge and advancement. Let me show you how to do this so when I'm not here, you know how. Way better than, hey, Bill, I need this done by 2 o'clock. Thank you. So you see how we can use this. So that would be my long answer to a question of the old school way of jump how high and really connecting, bonding, impacting our teams through the professional languages of the Leader 7.
That was awesome, man. Thank you.
You're welcome.
That was awesome, Mike. I'm glad to know that I'm not the only guy that blushes when Andre is talking to me too. Andre, I really appreciate you. I really appreciate you doing this. This is what he says of taking you up on a 30-minute Zoom call. That was our story, right? I came out of the blue, just shot him a LinkedIn message and said, Andre, man, I really love this podcast from Justin Schenk, Growth Map Movement. And he immediately hopped on a Zoom call. We've built a relationship, man. I appreciate, number one, having the opportunity to build a relationship with you and have you on the show. 2, I appreciate having the sideline view of like your astronomical rise of all the things that you've accomplished since early 2019 that I've seen you doing, man. So thanks a lot for doing this. I want to thank you all, Yannicka, Mike, Bill, Alexandra, Summerlin, and Craig. An hour of your day in the middle of a Thursday. It's not a small ask. Showing up is amazing. Thank you for supporting Jerry and his show. If you're listening on the podcast, if you're watching on YouTube, show up live one of these days, right? Just go to the link in the show notes, type, click in, put it on your calendar, show up one of these days, be part of the conversation, and get to meet. Andrea, I'll give you last words here and then we'll click off.
My last words is thank you, everybody, for tuning in and allowing me to be part of your day. Everyone listening today and thereafter, be great and have some fun doing it. Enjoy it.
All right. See you, everybody.